The armed forces of Ukraine do not forget about the Energia plant in Yelets, Lipetsk region, which produces NK system batteries, lithium-ion batteries, mercury-zinc system elements and batteries, lithium system elements and batteries. The main customer of the enterprise is the Russian army, which is why the facility was hit by a Ukrainian UAV on July the 15th. The OSINT and GeoINT analysis telegram channel, Cyber Boroshno, examined new images of the plant, revealing the nature of the damage to the production complex. In photo 1, you can see that one of the buildings where batteries are collected is damaged. An anti-drone net had been installed over the workshop before the attack, but it did not prevent the Ukrainian drones from hitting the target. The attempt to protect the specific building that was attacked speaks to its importance. As reported on July the 15th, Energia was attacked by 4 drones of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. The attack caused the roof of one of the production buildings to catch fire. In addition, the roof of the administration building was damaged. One employee of the enterprise was injured. One of the drones was shot down by a Russian Defense Ministry helicopter, sources claim. However, the others successfully reached their target, causing a fire and smoke at the impact site. This is not the first attack on Energia. At least 12 drones were launched at the facility in early July. Energia specializes in the production of chemical current sources. These products are widely used in various industries, from civil aviation and marine transport to energy and, in particular, the defense industry. The systematic strikes on this plant indicate its importance to the Russian military-industrial complex and likely make it a priority target in the deep rear. As in previous cases, the Russian authorities did not officially comment on the incident. However, the fact that a strategically important facility was hit again and again highlights the vulnerability of key enterprises in Russian regions. The Energia plant is under Western sanctions and is Russia's largest manufacturer of chemical power sources. During Putin's visit of the Magnitogorsk iron and steel works, workers were given clear instructions on what they could and could not ask him about. According to a report by Kremlin journalist Andrei Kolesnikov, the discussion of possible questions took place under the supervision of the Kremlin's censor controller. The agency writes about this when one of the workers suggested asking Putin about the central bank's key rate, which is killing the Russian economy. He was immediately told it was inappropriate. The worker, in his words, sighed dejectedly. The question did not pass moderation. Instead of current topics, there were questions about childhood, Sambo, and impressions of the city. These were considered correct for the format of the visit. Only the worker who suggested asking how the president had fun as a child received approval. Here, a wonderful question, the curator said. Preparations for the meeting with the president resembled a theatrical rehearsal. Workers were lined up and asked to greet Vladimir Vladimirovich in chorus cheerfully. Those who went off script were gently but firmly pointed out their mistake. When a journalist asked whether the workers were going to ask Putin about possible secondary US sanctions, one of them responded with disarming directness. That's true, and I agree that this is the most interesting thing. But do we have the right to raise the pressure on the president? Putin's visit to Magnitogorsk was yet another reminder of how Russia is run today, manually and without surprises. No tough questions, no discussions of real problems. Everything is according to an agreed-upon scenario. Recall the high key rate of the Central Bank of Russia sharply increased the cost of borrowed money. As a result, enterprises are forced to curtail business development and citizens are deprived of the opportunity to buy apartments and cars on credit. This is the price that citizens and businesses pay for the war that fueled inflation. The rejected question of the worker indicates the reluctance to draw additional attention to this topic. The president arrived in Magnitogorsk on Wednesday. He visited MMK and the local park, Prityazheny, took part in the opening of a new section of the M12 highway and also met with Chelyabinsk Governor Alexei Texler. During the passage of Putin's motorcade, trams were stopped in the city. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky gave an interview to the American publication The New York Post. Zelensky stressed in an interview with The New York Post that Russian dictator Vladimir Putin is not inclined to compromise to end the brutal war he has unleashed. According to Zelensky, the key to ending the war is to create conditions for Putin under which he himself will want to end it. Putin does not want an end, so he is simply not ready for a compromise. If Ukraine has to do it on its own, we will have to go a very long way with a lot of deaths to convince him that it is important to end the conflict, because these are not just words. Serious levers of influence are needed, Zelensky said. Zelensky noted that Trump has effectively given Putin another 50 days to continue the war, while the Russian war machine is becoming increasingly brutal, deliberately attacking civilians, including babies, with explosive drones launched into Ukraine on an unprecedented scale. The Ukrainian president stressed that Russian troops often deliberately target rescuers who arrive after the first attack. Such repeat strikes have become a common occurrence. The occupiers deliberately release more drones to destroy those who rush to help the victims. They hit civilian infrastructure, a house, and they know an ambulance is coming, the president said. According to Zelensky, after the first strike, the Russians pause. Cars, doctors, medics, ambulances, rescuers arrive, and at that very moment, when they are trying to save lives, the enemy strikes again. They know the details when people will arrive. After what pause they will be able to arrive. They hunt fighters when they are putting out a fire, the head of state summed up. Zelensky noted that the delay only gives Putin additional time to continue his bloody actions, after he has already played with Trump during months of fruitless peace talks with Moscow. Trump takes the death of people more seriously than Putin. It hurts him more. He talks about it than Putin, who does not feel sorry for his people at all, and they are his citizens, he said. Zelensky noted that sanctions could hit the pockets of ordinary Russians, which in turn could significantly reduce the level of support for Putin and provoke public discontent among the oppressed population. Although many Russians, including prisoners interviewed by the Post, do not understand the meaning of the war and do not support it internally, they are hesitant to express their position because they do not live in a free society, Zelensky explained. However, the situation may change if people begin to feel real consequences.